All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Today is session 3. So this is our third and final workshop session of the workshop. So for those of you that have been following along, tuning in live, catching the replays, thank you guys so much for just being here, tuning in. I hope you guys have been getting a ton of value and aha moments. I hope you've been taking some sales actions and also able to just look and reassess your sales strategies and processes right now and see where you guys can make shifts and make some improvements. Hopefully you guys have been getting a lot of value. If you're tuning in and this is your first time being here, I'm super excited to have you. We do have 3 sessions, so today's the third. We do have session 1 where we really dove in and talked about your buyers list, the importance of it, how to build it, all of that. And then yesterday on session 2, we dove into really how to communicate and move those leads, like how to start and have those high intent, high converting conversations, and how to move them. And then today in this third and final session, what we really want to do is we want to talk now about the pulling it all together, right? So we've got the buyers list. We started building that. You have this list of people, and obviously by itself, there's no value in that. Like the list itself doesn't just automatically create sales. So we have the list. Then we told you guys and taught you yesterday, this is how we would move them and have conversations and activate them. But we also know that just from working with our clients, that day to day, those nuances, those day to day reps and action steps, this is where clients get stuck up the most. This is where people are like, how do we prioritize all the different things going on? How do we know what things to focus on first, then second, then last? How do we just balance time, life, if you're busy? This is where all of these like daily nuance questions come in, where people just get stuck, right? Especially if you have all kinds of conversations happening and you have all kinds of people coming on your list. It starts to stack and it can tend to feel overwhelming. And like, how do you manage it all, right? The other thing is a lot of us are doing so many things, so we're working so many hours so hard, and it doesn't feel manageable or sustainable, right? So what we want to do today is bring the system to you guys, the strategy that we use that really pulls all this together, and it puts it into a really simple system for you guys so that you can get in and get out and do the work. So this is where we're going to take everything we've talked about the last 2 days. You should go back and watch those, the replays, if you have not watched those yet. I would just go through right in order. It's going to bring you right to this session. And this isn't about closing more sales or doing more things. This session is about knowing exactly what to focus on every day so that your sales do not depend on your mood, your energy, your content, or even the algorithm. And one thing that we know and definitely get a lot of our entrepreneurs and our clients really tripped up in those daily nuances is just feeling like I'm working so much, I'm chasing, I'm showing up, I'm doing all these things, and not really knowing what do I need to really focus on specifically, but how do I set this up to be repeatable in a way, like, I don't know, if I couldn't be here tomorrow, or if I have a sick child, or I have a day off or an appointment, like, how do I keep things going? And if I have a busy life, how can I create the sales results that I want, while also maintaining that busy life that I have, right? So this is where we really build the system for you guys that's going to put you in control of your sales. It's going to stack your momentum, and it's going to keep you there, right? So it's sustainable, it's scalable. I share a lot, right? Like, again, I take CEO week off the last week of every month. I take all the holidays off. I don't work weekends. And on average, I work anywhere from 3 to 4 hours a day, maybe 5 once in a while if I've got crazy things going on that I'm working on, or if I feel like it. But we don't, I don't have to be plugged in all the time. I don't need to be turned on to the business, plugged in all the time. We don't have to live launch all the time. I don't do weekly live videos all the time. Like, I don't have to do tons of content. I don't have to work as hard as a lot of people are working. And it isn't because I'm special and magical, although I would love to think that. It is because of these systems. these systems have given me structure, and structure has given me time, financial freedom, 100%. All of my time and my time and money freedom has come from having these systems in place and having structure in my business where I can kind of come in, turn the lights on, do the things, it produces the result, and I get out. And it sounds really easy when I say that. There is work you have to do. You do got to put in the work, right? You have to do the reps. You have to do the work. You have to test. You have to execute our systems. You got to plug into them, execute them, and find how they work for you. So there's some work in the beginning, but like once you get this work in, this can be your reality, right? Is I know exactly what things produce the exact results that I want. I know how to do them, where to do them, and how long they take, and I can get in and out in a few hours a day. And honestly, a multi 6 or 7 figure business really shouldn't take you more than a few hours a day unless you're building like massive team, super complicated technology, you're running paid ads all over the place, unless you're doing a lot of the advanced stuff, which isn't good, bad, right, or wrong. It is whatever. But unless you're doing all of that, a 6 or 7 figure business, you should be able to execute that in a few, 3, 4, maybe 5 hours at most, not even every day, with the right things in place, right? And if you're going to hire anyone like a setter or seller, a lot of our clients have people like that. So do I. But if you're going to have anyone like that come in, they're going to be more productive and they're going to produce the results. They're way more likely to do that when you have these systems in place and you've tested and you can say, listen, as long as you do this and you follow this process, these are the results that come from that. And I've been testing it for X weeks, months, years, whatever. So just follow that. And then you're able to start to delegate in a successful way. Whereas most people today, they hire from reactive, they're reactive in their hiring, they're emotional, or they're down in the weeds and they're like, oh my God, we need someone to come in fast and help. And then they hire based on those emotions, right? What I always say is when it comes to sales, you need to have systems and structure and processes so that you don't run your business based on your emotions. Because the fact of the matter is we are emotional human beings. So we might feel awesome, top of the world today, and tomorrow might be one of our worst days ever, right? We might be super dramatic, really stressed out, and maybe we're in our cycles. Who knows what's going on? Maybe the kids kept us up all hours of the night. Who knows, right? There's a billion things that go on in our lives every day. And if the way that you run your business is based on how you feel today, then we're going to be in big trouble. And so these systems just help us look at the business like a business. I'm here to do these things, to produce this, and get out. And so a lot of people feel like they have these inconsistent sales right now, and like sales feels so hard right now. It isn't because you need more leads. I'm seeing this everywhere. Like more leads, here's how to get more leads. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if you only have 100 leads, you can close multiple sales right now with 100 people. I mean, you have 3 to 5% of those people would buy, maybe even more. So multiply that by your offer. You have that much just sitting in 100 leads. You don't need to go viral. You don't need to have hundreds of thousands of leads. You can have $1 million business with less than 1,000 leads. And we help you build your buyers list. We start with 100 and then we add 100 every week until you get to your 1,000. That's $1 million business sitting there with like less than 1,000 leads when you work them properly, when you know how to work each one of those leads. And when you get your system down so you can do it relatively quickly, right? It's a little slower in the beginning when you're learning, when you're testing and figuring it out. But once you get it, you've got it, right? And so it isn't necessarily that you need more leads. Maybe you do. Maybe your goals, like your sales goal, doesn't make sense for what you got for leads. That could be true. First thing we do in Sales Academy is run your numbers. That's the first thing. We plug it into our proprietary system. It auto-populates, and we're able to see right where you're at and what you have to work with. But it's based on your sales goal and the price of your offer. Price of your offer and your sales goal. And we have to look at those two things and compare it against what you have for leads. And we have to ask ourselves, does all that make sense? Does the math? So one thing I say in Sales Academy all the time is the math has to math. And that just means it needs to make sense. And if it doesn't, Well, at least we know that. And now we know what we need to do instead of it's like, oh, I'm going to change my offer or lower the price. When it's like, you don't have enough leads to reach your sales goals with a high ticket offer. You most certainly don't with a low ticket. So again, we don't do anything on theory in Sales Academy. We run your numbers and we back into the math and science. It has to make sense. We also don't need to be like doing more things. I think a lot of people think maybe I should do a funnel. Maybe I should be doing lives every week. Maybe I should do a workshop. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. I'm going to tell you right now, every strategy works. There is no strategy out there. You could look at anybody and you could see everybody running all these different strategies, making millions of dollars. All of the strategies work. It is the systems, the skill, and the strategy behind it that you have set up and how well you're working those. And what I can say right now is, data science tells us that every human in the world can multitask, but there's not a single human in this world that can successfully do it. And so science is science. And that just means that you can half-ass a bunch of things and be really busy and justify that as I was busy today, so I was productive, but nothing that you're doing is producing the result. And the result is dollars and cents. If we're talking about a business, the result is dollars and cents. It's new clients, new money in the bank. So if what we're doing is not producing that, then it's not about doing more things. It's about identifying what are the things that produce sales and new clients, and then doubling down on those and getting rid of everything else. And it's being open to doing that. And we see a lot of entrepreneurs that are just really hung up on like, but I got to put out more content, but I'm so bored and I want to create another sexy offer, but I have 80 ideas of all these things. And I'm like, it's a simple question. Do you want to make money this week or not? Do you want to make sales this week, or do you just want to be busy and play this week? It's totally up to you. But only one thing that you're talking about is going to move the money needle. And that other thing is going to have you down in the weeds. It's up to you. Right. And so it's just that redirection in Sales Academy that we're always given is like, does everybody raise your hand when we get on that session? Does everybody want to make money today? Does everybody want to make sales, new clients this week? And of course, everybody does. You have to train yourself to stay focused on what's going to do that. Right. So here's the thing. Usually we see people being very reactive or random or like emotional with their activities. Like they're doing things because they're like, well, so-and-so did it, or I saw so-and-so do it, or I think that's what I'm supposed to do. Somebody told me that's what I'm supposed to do. Or, hello, I've got bills to pay and I'm freaking out right now and I just need to get a sale. And there's that emotional, reactive, desperate energy. If you have, that just means that you just don't have systems and strategies in place where you can feel secure. There's a power that comes with feeling very certain and very secure in knowing how to make money every day. When I think about where I used to be, right, food stamps and welfare and single mom, I was very anxiety driven because I didn't know if I was ever going to get out of that situation or if I was going to repeat generations of poverty and broke, and then my kids were going to go through the same thing. And I didn't know back then what I know today. Today, there is a sense of security because I know how to make money every day. I know how to get a sale today. I know how to get a sale tomorrow. I know how to generate sales on demand, same day. And there's a power that comes with that. But it isn't just a sales strategy, it's a skill. I've built my skill so that I never have to worry about who, where, what, when, or how I'm going to get sales again. I don't ever have to financially worry that I can't pay my bills or feed my family because I know how to sell. I have a skill. I spent 25 years building a skill and helping other women do the same thing because I could sell cars for a living if I had to. I could sell houses for a living if I had to. I could sell makeup if I had to for a living. I could sell anything. As long as I'm behind whatever it is, I could sell anything. I could sell animals, I could do whatever. And so it puts me in control of my financial future, right? When you build skill and you don't just ride on strategy, strategy dies. That's why they're called trends. They come and they go. They come and they go. Platforms, social media comes and goes. right? There's social media and there's platforms that have been here and they've gone away and other things have replaced them. Facebook shuts everybody's accounts down all the time for no reason and never turns them back on, right? Each platform, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, they're all different and their intention is different. The people on the platforms are all there for different reasons. Trends and strategies come and go. And one of the biggest issues I've seen in 25 years, I've been stable 25 years. When I look at people that have had to shut their business down, they've gone bankrupt, they've gone broke, they can't make sales. It's like you don't have the skill or this you're only leaning on strategy. And what happens when that strategy doesn't work anymore? What happens when that sales page you built no longer works? What happens when Facebook goes away? Or what happens if Facebook shuts you down? Like strategies and platforms come and go. Those are die-in trends. We are going to have something totally miraculously different in the next, who knows, 5 years, 10 years, tomorrow, who knows? That's going to come out and be the next new thing. I've never chased the trends. I have always stayed focused on basic sales fundamentals that I know work in any platform, in any economy, in any niche. Focus on that. You make a commitment to double down on that and you build your skill. You build your skill in sales and you learn those things so that no matter what the strategy is, it works. When we got shut down and banned from Facebook 4 months ago, we went straight to LinkedIn and boom, fired it off. And all we did was execute our systems over there. There was no thinking time. I did it the same day. I woke up that morning and before noon that day, we were already on LinkedIn firing off. Like it took a minute because I already know what to do. I already have my systems, my frameworks. I have the know-how. And when you know better, you can do better, right? So systems, guys, is really, I mean, if I had to say, if I could only give one advice to people right now when it comes to sales and financial and making money and being stable, I would say build your sales skill. Build your skills because the strategies will come and go. And if you have the skill, you can make any of those work. You can make any niche work. You can sell anything, right? So if I had to give advice, that's what I would say. Stop chasing the trends and the coming and going strategies and all these fads and the hype and smoke and mirror of what everybody's talking about. Double down on building your sales skills and mastering and honing your craft even better. And then when you apply it to the strategies, they just work, right? And this is what allows you to have structure so that you have freedom, you have time, you have a life, right? The human brain has to have structure, guys, to be in motion. Things in motion stay in motion. And if you're having too much thinking time, if you're spending too much time down in the weeds of things, there's no motion. There's no motion, right? And this is why we need a system. So I know I shared I want to share this strategy with you guys because when you take what we've taught you this week, and we haven't taught you all our frameworks, obviously, but we taught the most important, the buyer's list, the language and the mindset and energy around moving those conversations and nurturing people and getting them over that finish line. But the power, the rocket fuel that is underneath our frameworks and sits under that buyer's list is our power, our strategy. And I did not know this, 25 years ago when I was on welfare and I was a single mom with 2 kids. I did not know that I was building this or even doing what we teach as the power hour strategy today. But back then, I had 20 minutes, like blocks of 20 minutes, like randomly a few times throughout the day where the babies would nap in or they would settle down watching TV or they were in bed or they hadn't woke up yet and I was up early. There was those little 20-minute pockets throughout the day. And I say 20 minutes because I feel like even 30 or 45 probably would have been interrupted with one of them. But I had a good 20 dedicated blocks of time and pockets throughout the day, probably 3 or 4 times a day where I could head down, really focus. And it started with me saying, okay, if I only have 20 minutes today, okay, if I only had 20 minutes, let's just say the kids were going to be off their chain today and there was no napping and there was no sleeping and it was just going to be one of those days. If I only had 20 minutes today, what is one thing that I could do right now in my business that would move me closer to getting a sale by the end of today? And I asked myself that every single day. And I just kept saying, what's one thing if it was the only thing? And I would do a 20-minute activity or one activity for 20 minutes. And then a few hours later, I would grab another 20 minutes and say, okay, if this was the only thing I could do today. And I kept doing that with my blocks of time, right? So that I didn't get into, but so-and-so has a website, or this person makes millions of dollars off these gorgeous edited videos. And I didn't want to get down in the weeds of thinking that's what I had to do. I needed to make money, come hell or high water. Like my kids needed to be fed. I needed diapers. Like I needed to make money and get out of that financial rut that I was in. But I didn't have help and I didn't have a lot of time. And so I started looking at each block, 20 minutes, and just asking myself if this was the only thing I could do today, what the heck would be the one thing that would get me closer to a sale happening before this day is over? And I did this for months. And I was producing sales. I mean, I was getting new coaching clients. I was closing new sales. I was having tons of conversations. I had a lot of leads that did not close because I wasn't really good at the sales process back then. I was just getting started, but I was having a lot of conversations. So I knew that what I was doing was working, but there were some areas for improvement, but it was working. I was getting some clients. I was seeing progress. Conversations were a lot, like almost more than I could handle, just not all the right ones. But I knew that I could see the progressive forward motion. And so what I did is I said, well, how do I increase this, right? So I went from 20-minute blocks to 45-minute blocks. Eventually I went to just a couple, like three blocks for 60 minutes. I was doing about an hour and a half a day. And I just saw that things were still happening. I was still getting sales, still having lots of conversations. There was just a steady momentum where it was like every day I could look at my calendar and see calls. Every day there was people in my DMs booking conversations with me. I was starting to book conversations for the week ahead. So like I literally was like, this week is done and I've got X calls for next week. Like I saw my future already lining up for me. And I could tell by the people I was signing, like I could kind of start to tell that person I think is going to close. This person is going to be a good. You start with that repetition like that. You start to notice who buys and who doesn't. So I was literally future casting my sales, and I was like, this is working. Like this is great. Was it perfect? No, but it was definitely working. And so today, over the years, obviously we have massaged and finessed what you do and getting the right people in those conversations. But that is what we call the power hour today. So this is the method that we teach inside Sales Academy, and we call it cycling. You're basically cycling through the daily sales actions, starting with your hottest leads and working your way down. We have tons of cheat sheets. So like one of the things we say in Sales Academy is you got to get rid of thinking time. You can't sit and think about something for so long that by the time you come up for air and you've made a decision, we're so moved on now and you've lost a lot of opportunity. Money loves speed. So we want to quickly make imperfect decisions and just take the action, trust the process. There's nothing you're going to do that's going to shut your business down, right? Like I always say, there is no single thing that's going to make or break anything. If you make a mistake, you do it wrong, so what? We get up and try again, right? So the power hour is where you're going to pick the sales activities we teach you in Sales Academy, right? So you have your buyers list. What are we doing with those people? And what we're doing is we're going to take power hour blocks. You're going to schedule blocks of time. They can look different every day because your days are going to be different, right? There's days where I'm not working as much, so I'm not going to do as much. I got to get really intentional. I'm only doing these because I have this X amount of time today. There are days where I spend more time doing one sales activity than another because that's where I'm at, right? If I sent a bunch of DMs yesterday, I have a lot of DMs to answer today. Like they'll just cycle through. So today I might not send as many DMs because I'm answering so many. You see what I'm saying? So it's flexible, even though it's structured. You get to play and finesse. What do I want the day to look like based on where I'm at, right? because everything you guys do in 90-day cycles, it stacks. Like the first 30 days, you might be like, yeah, I'm seeing some things. But 60 days, you're like, holy cow. Everything I did last month is like piling on. And then you keep going. So when you get to the end of your 90 days, you're like, wow, right? So things stack. And you have to prioritize and be intentional with, based on what you got going on, what's closest to the money? That's always my question. Where's your money today? Is it in that lead? Is it in that action? Based on what we got going on, let's ask ourselves, where's my money? Who's paying me today? What's closest to the money? And we always take action from that place. And then you have the frameworks and you have the cheat sheets and you have the actions and the word tracks in the program where there's no thinking time. Just grab and go, grab and go, grab and go, plug and play, right? So this is how our clients move really, really, really quickly inside Sales Academy. We have clients that will come in and they'll do 20, 25K, 45K, 62K, numbers like big numbers like that. We have others that do 2K, 3K, 5K, but these are within hours of joining, days, no more than like 3 weeks at most. Like our clients come in and these are with people they already had sitting in their audience that they told us they're broke, they're unengaged, they're not my right people, they're never gonna buy, they probably want low ticket. And I'm like, let's put this high ticket offer in front of them. And here's what you're gonna say. And then they do it and they're like, oh my gosh. And they make all this money. It isn't magical, it's science. It's just science, it's proven. But we don't know what we don't know, right? So we plug you into these things because there is anywhere from 2.5% to 5% of conversion sitting in the current list you have. So if you take your total audience, emails, Facebook groups, social media connection, if you took all your leads, which we have a sheet where we plug these numbers in, it just populates it for us, and then we run your sales goals and we back it into it. But if you just look at your audience that you have right now, anywhere from like the market's a little different now, so it's like, it used to be 2.5% to 5%. I like to say it's 1.5% to like 3.5%, only because I like to be super conservative. But anywhere between a 1.5% to 5%, depending on your audience, are buyers right now. Those are buyers sitting there right now. But if you have not done certain things with them, if you don't know what to do with them, if you don't know what to say to them, if you don't know how to, what we call, move them, get them be an active participants. If you don't know how to do that, they're just sitting there and you might think, it's my offer, is it my price? Is it the audience? Is it me? Is it you? What the heck is going on? Do I need to create more content? Do I need to create all different content? Like, what do I need to do? And we start shredding. And you're changing things that are possibly not broken. You might even be changing things that would work phenomenally if you change a thing that actually doesn't work. And so in Sales Academy, we do nothing by theory. There's no blanket coaching or guessing. We look at the math and we look at the science and we look at the two together. Right? So everything is like, run the numbers, look at the data, what makes sense here? Where's the gap? I can find gaps and close them in 2 minutes. Like if you share your situation with me, I'll tell you in 5 seconds exactly what the problem is. I'm so good at that, right? And again, if you don't know what that is, you're making random changes. And then you think because it's not working, you have to work more, do more, create more, be more, show up more, lower your prices, negotiate with people, convince them, beg them, all this stuff. And then you feel exhausted. You're like, how the hell is this sustainable? Right? Like, how am I going to keep doing this? So we want you guys to be productive without the burnout. So there's 4 activities. Well, we're doing more than 4 because we have our Sales on Demand live tomorrow. We spend 5 hours together. I am super excited. We do get a little excited for these sessions only because our clients they're just so productive and they get so much done and they make money and they have conversation. And there's a whole new level of confidence that they build coming out of that session of just like seeing what is really possible when you're really doing the right things effectively and productively. So we have a lot of fun. We're doing more than 4 things tomorrow. We're doing probably a lot more than that. We're spending some time together, but there are 4 main activities inside of these power hours. So when we say, guys, run your power hour cycles, when we say that, we want you to pick these main 4 activities for the most part. So number 1 is always going to be work your buyers list. We find that a lot of people just open social media and start scrolling, like randomly, aimlessly scrolling social media. Whatever platform they're using, whatever social thing they're on, they just like, okay, I need sales, and they open social media. Right? Like, how many of us do that? Right? I used to do that. I'd be like, okay, I need to get sales, and I'd open Facebook. But I open a buyer's list today. I don't even open social media. If I want to make money today, I open my buyer's list. I don't even touch Facebook or LinkedIn. I open my buyer's list. That's where my money is. Right? And there's a big difference in that, by the way. So, one, we always want you to look at your buyer's list and prioritize. Who are the top qualified hottest leads that live on that buyer's list right now? So if you looked at your buyer's list, because in your buyer's list, we're going to teach you the 3 categories of hot, warm, and cold. You're going to have all 3 of those people on your buyer's list, especially as you're building it, right? You're adding new cold leads, and then we work them into warm, we get them into hot, convert them into clients. Simple process, right? And so you're going to have people in buckets. We call them buckets. You're going to have hot, you're going to have warm, you're going to have cold leads. Don't, just because they're on your buyer's list doesn't mean they're all hot and qualified, right? You want to start your day with the hottest people on the buyer's list, not the coldest, not even the warmest. And it's funny because when we run sessions in Sales Academy, clients will say, you know what's weird? And is I start my day with like the new people that joined my Facebook group today, or the new connections that came in on my social profile. And I'm like, tell me what those, where would you categorize those leads? And they're like, well, cold, because they just came in and we haven't, exactly. And in Sales Academy, do we start our day with cold leads? And, but you would think it, right? You would think because they're a brand new person, they just connected with you, get in there. And I'm like, are they paying you today? It's very unlikely. Like, that's a cold lead. We haven't done the process to create buyer yet. And so when we have these breakthroughs, it's little things like that, right? They're like, holy cow, mind blowing. Because you would just naturally think, new subscriber, reach out to them today. New Facebook group member, talk to them today. Not saying those are bad things, but that is not where your money lies today, right? That's where your money lies in a couple of months from now. So if you're working your cold leads like that all the time, you are months out from any sales. Make sense? And if you're not even getting them to the warm or hot bucket, it's even further out. See what I mean? So we want you guys to say, who's the hottest people on that list today that are likely to, buy? And your hottest person might be cold. Your hottest person might be warm in the beginning as you're building this up. But we want you to understand how this works long term. We want you to look at who are the warmest leads after you go through your hottest. Are you going to get through every single lead every single day? No, that's not realistic as that list grows, right? We have people with thousands of people on the list. It's not going to happen, but you're always prioritizing. All of your hottest leads are not even buyers today or this week. Like, you see what I'm saying? So we're always looking at who's the hottest of the hottest. Like, you're trimming it down and prioritizing always. But this is how you can get in and close a 5K, 10K, 20K sale today and go call it a day at the beach or something, like, because or you can spend 10, 12 hours today trying to find a $200 sale, right? Like, at the end of the day, this is how my brain functions. I don't want to be sitting at the desk all day, but I want to close sales every day, like, right? Okay, so you have to prioritize and function from that buyer's list. It's not about new leads. We got to know when a new lead comes in, we know how we're working our leads and prioritizing closest to the money always, right? Okay, and then the second strategy, and people are a little bit resistant to this, I'm not gonna lie. We have to really work. We're gonna actually be doing this in our Sales on Demand event tomorrow as one of our sales activities, but follow up. I think it's like 97 or 91% of entrepreneurs never follow up more than twice. But in 2024, the stat said 97% of buyers are happening in the 8th to 10th follow-up on average across the board. Okay, well, that is insane because that's like all of your sales. So people in this market aren't buying the first time you reach out. They're not buying the first time they see you live. That's not the market. They're buying with the 8th to 10th follow-up. However, if we look at brain science and sales psychology, follow-up feels crappy to most people. One, you feel like you're chasing, nagging, begging, pleading, being desperate, like annoying people. And they feel like you're trying to pitch me, sell me to death. You're just driving me crazy. Like, get off my back. It's your business failing. Like, why are you bugging me? So follow-up typically doesn't feel good for either person. But that is because we're not doing it right. So the way that we teach follow-up is we have our FU 10 times method, and it's the 10 messages in order, backed by sales psychology, that we are sending as we put someone through 10 follow-ups. And almost none of them are like, do you still want to buy? I'm just following up. Are you still interested? Like what every other salesperson says, we're literally not doing that. And we have over a 70% response rate from those follow-ups. That's unheard of in this market, in any market. That is literally unheard of. They work really well. And so we have to hold that space for people, because not everyone that's on your buyers list is going to buy today. They're not all ready right now, but that's not a no. It's not a never. We have people that we've worked, what, Cindy, 2 years, a year, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, info, coming in, here I am. And we're like, yes, girl, finally, right? It just worked for them. But it took us some time. And if you don't hold the space, they forget about you. I always say, your buyers are going to pay somebody. And if you want it to be you when they're ready, you got to hold the space for them. And holding that space is nurturing them and following up. So if you know that 97% of your sales are getting lost because we're not following up enough and we're not following up properly, how would that change life for you? Because if you're working so hard to get these leads and work these leads and nurture them and get them halfway there, and then you just give up, I mean, that's not really, that doesn't seem logical to me. Follow it through and close the deals. So another activity everyone should have in those power hours is following up. You're not always following up on your offer. You might follow up on a conversation. You might follow up on a resource that you gave somebody that they asked for. You might follow up with someone who opted in for something. You might follow up with someone who's watched your live show yesterday. Like, it doesn't even need to be like about your offer. That's the thing. When you shift your mindset on what follow-up is, it's really nurturing and holding space until someone is ready. It's not about begging and getting people and selling to people and getting them to buy. And I think that that is a big shift in the follow-up, because when you look at it as I'm nurturing you and holding space for you and I'm supporting you versus I'm trying to sell and pitch to you, it's two totally different energies, right? And it feels better for people. So that is the second thing we have to be doing. Because it also builds trust. There's nothing worse. Like, if you think about real life, like if you went somewhere like a hair salon, and you went in and you checked out their prices and you explored the place and you're like, okay, I'm checking out some places, whatever. And then you gave them your phone number and you did all this stuff. If they never called you, you probably wouldn't even go back to them. I've literally done that where I'm like, wow, they didn't even call me back or anything like that. It almost feels like it's a lack of customer service almost. Like, it's not even about me coming to you to do my hair. It's like, I feel like it's a customer service thing that you would follow up with a lead or follow up with me and check in, right? But think about people that don't do that. Your business goes elsewhere. They're going to go to the person that sends that text that says, hey, Anne, it was really nice to meet you today. If you have any other questions about our hair salon or anything like that, let us know. We're here to support you, blah, 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 blah. I'd be like, oh, that is really sweet. Nice touch, no pitch, no nothing, no wild, crazy thing, right? Think about how it makes you feel, because here's the thing. No one's going to remember you or your offer, but they will remember how you make them feel, because we are emotional human beings. If you make me feel appreciated, seen, heard, you make me feel good, you make me feel desired, wanted, all of those things, appreciated, I am way more likely to talk to you. I'm way more likely to be engaging if you reach out to me. I'm way more likely to give you my money over someone who's not showing me any of that, right? That's follow-up. That is what follow-up really is. That's totally different when you think about that. Okay, the third thing that we want you guys doing is triggering new conversations. So we always talk about the buyers list. We always talk about these daily conversations, right? We always talk about working those hottest leads, but we also do need to grow the top of the funnel. right? If you look at your businesses down the street, can you imagine if they got 50 customers or 100 customers and then they shut the door and said closed, locked it, no new customers allowed? They'd be bankrupt, out of business. Like, that'd be silly for business, right? So we do need to go to the top of the funnel, because you can only sell and only do so much with so many people before you've exhausted your whole list, right? You've talked to everybody, you've qualified everybody, you've sold everybody, you've exhausted the people. You're only going to go so far with 100 people. So we need to always be adding every day. We teach our strategy where you add 20 new people. We call it 20 at the top. A lot of our clients start with like 5 or 10 at the top, and we move you up. The goal is 20 at the top a day. Why? Because that's 100 a week. Why 100? Because out of every 100 is 1 to 2 sales. Simple, basic math. We already know, because we've tested it for 25 years. If you get 20 at the top, you usually got to send about 50 requests to get 20 on average. You get 20 at the top, that's 100 a week. That is 1 to 2 sales a week. It's very, very simple math, right? Obviously, you gotta know how to convert them, which we teach you, but we gotta keep the pipeline full. One of the best and greatest problems that I want every one of my clients to come to me with is, Anne, I have so many leads and so many conversations and so much interest going on. I don't even know how to handle it all. Best problem in the world, because the latter is, no one is talking to me. None of my leads want to buy. I have no money. I'm making no sales. I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't even know if I'm going to make sales this month. Well, I would much rather you be like, oh my God, there's so much abundance. I don't know what to do with it all. That is a much better problem to have, and I would much rather you have that problem, right? So we still want you to focus, not start of the day, but we do want you to focus on sending new connection requests, growing the top of your funnel, bringing in fresh eyes, bringing in new people, getting some new conversations going. And we also want you to leverage your content. We want you to look at your content and say, who's engaging with our content? We teach a you're welcome content strategy, right? So when you post it, it's supposed to generate conversations, hand raisers, high intent people that want to learn more. It's supposed to get things kind of going for you, right? So, and it should feel like, you're welcome. It's so good. You're welcome. And so we also want you to be looking at who's engaging with that content, right? Do we have people clicking? Do we have people asking questions? Do we have people commenting and being like, oh, this is so good. Oh, this is interesting. Wow, I never looked at it like that. Or asking questions. Do you have people that are showing you they might be a little bit interested already? Or showing that like buyer behavior? Do you have people clicking on the same thing multiple times? So when we go in our email, we run reports. And because again, working with the hottest leads, we will run reports, and we will see that some of our leads will click or open or click, either one. They'll open or click the same email multiple times. Well, why are we doing that? We're interested. We're trying to remember. We're trying to refresh. We're going back to something that caught or piqued our interest. There is a level, that is somebody showing you that there is a level of an interest there. If we're ignoring that, lost money, lost opportunity. It couldn't, maybe it's not even a sale. It could be someone who's like, I was actually looking at this for my friend or my client or my coworker. They need this. And I was trying to remember where I found it and go back and get your information. I was going to ask you, you never know. But when you see people showing you these little subtle signs, and you won't know if you're not looking at your data, right? Like, I don't do anything without looking at my data. How many opens, how many clicks, where did we fall off, where are we doing good? I see people clicking the same things multiple times, or multiple emails all multiple times. Like, they're paying attention. You want to start your day there. Those are hot leads. Reach out, find out what's going on, connect with them. I see that you're checking this out. What questions do you have? Let me answer those for you. People are so afraid to reach out to people, right? But you have leads that are basically considered cold because you haven't talked to them, but they're doing buyer readiness actions. And we need to tap into those to get those new conversations going and get new sales in at the top, okay? So that is another activity where we just want you to be really intentional with that. And then the fourth thing that we do in the sales is make sure we're tracking the leads and the next steps. And this isn't just about follow-up, but this is where people kind of go wrong with, I did this like 3 weeks ago. They never responded. And so they've been sitting there for 3 weeks. And I'm like, okay, you can go all the way back to the beginning now because that lead has no idea who you are, that you're starting over now, right? Or we'll have people be like, Anne, oh my God, I had a $10,000 lead sitting in my email. I totally forgot about her. She told me she was interested 2 months ago. I was going to get back to her. And I got souped up in this and I forgot. And you have like leads that you sort of forgot about that showed interest during a workshop or a live or something that you did. And then you kind of just, they fizzled out. You forgot about them, lost money. If you're not tracking your leads, then you can't manage your sales. Period. If you're not tracking your leads, you cannot manage your sales. I cannot control my sales if I don't know what's going on with my leads, because that is how I make my sales, by micromanaging every lead and knowing who I want to prioritize and focus on to get me to the money. Right? So if you're not tracking your leads, if you don't have a system that you can pull up, right? Like I'll show you real quick, just like a small example. Like it's just the matter of a couple of minutes that this takes right here, just this little thing. When I come in here, right, and I open up my buyers list or my database and I say, give me my buyers list, boom, buyers list pops up. All I have to go do is come in here and say, what do I want to filter? I want to filter by hot lead. Show me my hot leads for today. Okay, 16 people. Well, now I might say, okay, well, show me the 16 people, and also show me that they have an email, right? Because, or let me try this email. I wonder if I can do is not, oh, you can't do not blank. I can't remember how to do this one. But we'll just say like it has at least one. So show me someone with a phone number. So 2 people, or 15 people have a phone number or an email, and they're marked as hot. That's where I'd start my day. And I would go look at my email and I'd be like, let me see if they're opening and clicking and what they're doing over there, right? So you have these filters. Do you see how quick, just as a small example, how quick I can pull up a specific set of people and be like, boom, let's work these people right here, right? And then once I'm in there, we work our framework. So if I pulled up this lead, I would say, okay, we did this. What's the next thing? Right here, uncover this. After I do that, what's the next? And you see, we just move the process, right? Step by step by step by step. And we create tasks, right? We have a rule in Sales Academy. You never close out a profile like a human before creating the next task, right? You always need to have, this is how you track and manage. I can pull up in Group Track. I can pull up in my database. I can say, pull up every hot lead who has a task due today. And I will fire those off. And this is how you're always working. You don't have to guess when you have a system, right? If you're just writing this down and trying to think of it here, it's going to be, crazy town. But if you have a system where you can filter and pull things up, you work rapid fast, you guys, rapid fast. I could get that done in 2 minutes, right? While other people are like, wait, who was that lead? And I've done that before. I'm like, oh my God, who was that? What was her name? And you're thinking and you're scrolling and you're trying to remember and you're looking, you're like, oh my God, what was her name? And you're trying to find her, right? All the time, right? The research data that was done in 2024 said that the average entrepreneur spends 20 to 25 hours a week of just thinking time. That is a part-time job. So you're working part-time for free. Like you're spending that amount of time just thinking. Who, what, where, when, why, how, who's next? Then what do I say? What do I say after that? Who this? How do I do that? All that thinking time adds up, guys. Literally to a part-time job every week. We eliminate that in Sales Academy because you don't have any thinking time. Follow the framework, follow the stages, follow the steps, follow the system. Get your coaching, get your feedback, get your real-time hands-on guidance. You move at speed, and money loves speed. The things that we find take most of our clients months or years to figure out, we help them do that in minutes, an hour in the program. Like I have, what was it, Krista, maybe Sydney, that was like, and 10 years I struggled with this, 10 freaking years. And you boom, in one thing you just said to me, just solve that. She's like, I was stuck on that for 10 years. That kept me so stuck. Boom, we shifted that. That was easy, right? And we have that all the time. So what you think is in your way and what you think might be slowing you down, or if you think like, oh, this is going to take so long, it's just going to be hard to, I'm telling you, I can probably identify and close a gap in just a matter of a few minutes, really quick for you, which is the speed, right? Because you can move fast and you don't have to think about it. That is definitely where we're at with that. Okay. I'm curious too, like if you guys want to share, if you feel like when you think about the current sales activities, it's just good for you guys to kind of think about and reflect on. When you think about the current sales activities that you're doing, it doesn't need to be what I've been talking about. It might not be. Maybe you're doing a whole lot of things, but what do you think that it's good to take note of this? Do you think there's something that you do on average on a daily basis that you feel is one of those sales activities that is absolutely progressing toward generating a sale? Or do you feel like you're doing a lot of busy stuff, a lot of in theory stuff, a lot of trendy stuff, but you're not really seeing that these are going to be the things that are going to produce sales? This is really good for you to reflect on, because it's just about being honest with yourself. Like, can I keep doing this? Right? Can I keep doing what I'm doing? Is it going to get me where I want to go? Right? Is it going to get me there? One thing I would love for everyone to do today, like before you close and wrap up your day, I would love for you to open that buyers list that we had you guys start to add people to, and maybe just pick 3 people, just 3 people off that list, and write down just one touch point that you could do with that person that you feel would just spark the conversation, just get some things going with that lead, maybe move them into the next little stage. Like, what could, like, I like to look at a lead and then ask myself, okay, what did I do with this person last? And then, okay, based on what I did last, what should I do next? And every time that's how we look at it. What did I do last? What do I do next? Which is that system that we have, right? You'll do this, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this, and it takes them through the buyer series, takes them through that buying process. And so with the 3 leads, you could just look at, okay, what did I do last? And maybe you're going to look at them and say, I haven't done anything. Okay, great. So what would you do first? What would you do next? Right? Yeah. Okay. Tanya said I'm currently using, yeah, we have a spreadsheet that we gave to our clients that has like some things kind of set up that sort of follow our system. But it's, I mean, I got to like multi 6 figures with a spreadsheet, so it can be done. You can do it. It's not amazing, but you can do it, right? You can do it. I always tell everyone, do not let the wild, crazy tech slow you down or stop you. If it's manageable, and I think it is, if you're at, if you're following the framework and system, keeping it really simple, you can manage it. And I think if you're at a point where you can't, because there's so much going on, then you're making enough money where you can invest in something like what we use. I think what we use is only like a couple hundred a month or something like that. It's not a lot, but in the beginning, some of our clients are like, I'll use a spreadsheet for now. We're like, dude, I did 6+ figures with a spreadsheet. It was wild. It was a little chaotic. It wasn't awesome, but I did it. So, and I was a lot less organized back then than I am now with our system and strategy. We have a lot of clients that use a spreadsheet, so you can totally, you can make it work with it for sure. Okay, very good. So, Power Hour is going to be you taking blocks of time. I like to tell my clients you can do 20-minute increments multiple times a day, 30-minute, 60-minute. It's up to you. I run 60 now because I like to get it in 3 or 4 hours a day, and I only have to do a few activities that really produce, right? Because I got rid of all the other stuff that didn't. So when you really hunker it right down, you could probably do, 3 or so, 2 or 3 60-minute blocks of time. And you can switch it up each day based on what you got going on. But when the goal and the key with this is it's 1 hour, one focus. So if I am using that hour and I'm saying, I'm going to send hot touch points. So I'm going to pull up my buyers list and the people that are hot, I'm going to send the next touch point. I'm doing that for 1 hour. Then that means if people are responding to those DMs, I'm not answering those right now. If people are pinging me here and pinging me there and emailing me and boxering me and reaching out, I'm doing the one activity right now. I will do the next one next. And so does that mean that someone might respond in your DM and they might sit until your next block of time, which could be middle or end of day or tomorrow morning? Absolutely. That might be that, or you might find time later. But the key to being super productive is completing your task, right? Because a lot of people have a lot of half-finished activities. Like you got a lot going on, but they're all half-assed. None of them are actually complete, right? In Sales Academy, we want you to build mastery. And million-dollar owners, billion-dollar people are very rigid with how their time is spent. Time is money. They don't let nobody waste it. They don't waste it. They have no time for that. And that's how I operate. I don't have any time for my time to be wasted. So for me, if I'm going to sit for this 1 hour, I'm doing this activity, anything else coming at you during that time has to wait. Then you'll go through it and do your next. So you could start with 20 or 30 if that feels good and do that a few times. Each day can look different, right? So you might say, you know, today I'm going to focus on these blocks or more time on just this one because I have so many of these coming through. Or maybe if you're doing a launch, you might spend the whole week just focusing on your registrants and maybe not a super ton of time on all your other cold leads, like things you would maybe do other days, right? So again, you want to go with your seasons and with what your numbers are looking like. Every day it's the same question. What is closest to the money? Who's got my money today? That's it. And then that drives your power hours. It drives your sales activities. Who's closest to my money today? Who's got it and where is it? What is closest? If I had to pick one activity, one person, one thing, what would it be? Who would it be? And you start there. And that's how you prioritize. And we have cheat sheets so that you don't have to think about the tasks. You could just grab the ones that make the most sense. Do we have that? Oh yeah, I have a picture of it here. This is just one cheat sheet. We call it Working Your Database. This is part of the Cold to Client cycle. We call it like a cheat sheet because people were like, when I open my database or my spreadsheet, what should I do? And I'm like, open the buyers list, filter your hot leads, go deposit reciprocity, update their account, create your next task for next week, move to the next thing. And people will just come in here and grab whichever one they feel like, right? Like based on where they're at and what they're working on, they'll come in. And I'm like, it's not about being right or wrong. It is about just consistent, steady repetition and momentum. It's run the reps, get the job done. And when we remove thinking time, you move way faster. On that call tomorrow, whoever's on that call, you will get way more done in that 5 hours than you probably have a month. And again, it's all sales activities. It's all sales producing stuff, right? And that is the only focus in Sales Academy. So it is open for enrollment. We are absolutely taking on new clients for sure. My Voxer is wide open for anyone that wants to reach out and just have a good, honest conversation about your sales goals, where you're at, where you feel like you need some help, what you think might be going on, and I can help navigate some of that. And questions about Sales Academy. How would it work for you? Would it work for you? Would it be a good next step? Are you ready for it? What would my day-to-day look like? What is the expectation of me? All of those things. That's what we can have a good, honest conversation about. If you're fit, if I feel like you will be successful if you come in, like I know Sydney and I can help you, and I know our process will work for you, and I know you got what it takes, like it feels like a great match. I'll tell you, and we can talk about your path and get you started. If we don't feel like that, I'll share why and we'll talk about it, right? But it's super low pressure. I actually want you to experience how we teach you guys to sell, right? And how we teach you to navigate conversations of people reaching out and asking about things and how we do that. Because most people be like, yeah, what questions do you have about Sales Academy? Awesome. Well, you know what? Here's the answers. Do you want to join? And for us, we slow that process way down because I don't want anyone in my programs that isn't going to win. I don't care how much. I don't care if you said, and I'll give you 50K right now. Like, I don't care. It's not worth it. I want my clients to win. And I also don't want it to be a horrible experience, right? I mean, and I want you to be ready to do the process and be open to receiving and build a new relationship with money and be open to coaching and all the things, because then you'll have a better experience, right? I don't want you to just make money and be like, this sucks though. That's not, we want you to do both. We want you to have a good experience and make money. And so there has to be a conversation. There has to be like, I want to make sure you have the things, because I want you to have a good experience and get the results, not one or the other, right? So it's just a good, honest, open conversation. There's no expectation, there's no requirements of you. If you're in love and I'm in love and we're like, hell, girl, let's connect and like lock arms and like let's do this together, then we will do that. If we don't both feel like that, then we don't do that, right? Okay, so hopefully this was helpful today's session to just tie together. We don't have a lot of systems in Sales Academy. There's just a handful of systems and strategies that you're just going to execute, plug into, execute, and just master and make your own and like get aligned with it. And we'll test a little bit of that because we want it to be yours. But there's not a lot. You're not coming in and doing all this tech stuff. You're not coming in and building a funnel. You don't need to come in and set up this and set up that. You don't need to come in and create tons of content and all this stuff. You don't need to be doing all that, right? We really want to just show you how to get right down to the root of the sales with the basic fundamentals. And that is the most scalable thing ever. Not about trends at all. And get that buyer's list built up where you have their names, emails, physical mailing address, their phone numbers. You want that because you own that. And you don't want to be hung up on all of my leads or potential buyers are living on a social platform. I just had a client who, her Facebook, she woke up in the morning a few days ago. She's like, and she boxed me and she's like, what do I do? She's like, I woke up this morning, I shut down all of my Facebook. I can't even get them back on. And she's like, I run my business forever over there. That's where all my leads are. And I'm like, okay, you've been in the program for 1 week. Did you import your Facebook leads into the system like we told you? She's like, yes. I'm like, then you got it all right there. You've already won ahead. You're one step ahead of Facebook, right? Like you've got those leads. That's the importance of a buyer's list. Because if you lose a platform or it gets shut down for no reason, if you're sitting there like, oh my God, what do I do? That's all of my money. That's all my possible leads, all that work. You need them in a buyer's list. And then you need to know how to build what needs to be built with those people so they follow you everywhere. They're reaching out, hey, where are you? I can't find you, right? Or when you reach out and say, hey guys, our account got shut down. Here's where you can now find us. They all run and scurry over there to be connected with you, right? You have physical mailing addresses. You can send mailers to people, physical love notes to people, a gift to people to stay in touch with your hottest buyers. You can't do that across social media. Okay, so there's such a high level of like the buyer's list is the new sales, guys. And then knowing how to work that list is where that comes in. And then structuring your time. So you're working the list, converting it in a few hours a day. Total, like in and out kind of strategy, right? Now, don't get us wrong. There's going to be some work in the beginning to get the system set up, make them work for you, fine tune them so they feel like your own. Without changing too much of the behavioral science type stuff, right? And then just getting comfortable executing in a new way. And quite honestly, it's a simple way. A lot of our clients are just like, oh my God, I'm used to doing 8-10 hours a day. Should I be doing other things? And I'm like, just keep doing this. Just keep doing this, right? And so it's almost that permission that this gets to feel easier. This gets to be easier to do. It's almost that permission a lot of our clients need. And the systems and structure is what's going to give you guys that, right? And that is what we're going to do in Sales Academy. Super hands-on. It's not a course. You're going to get live private calls with Cindy and I. There's hands-on experience. We actually look at everything that you do. You can send us the things that you're working on, the things that you're doing. Say, hey, Anne, I created this. What do you think about it? And or this person responded this way. Should I say that? I was going to say this. Should I? Like all of those nuances that just get you thinking again. They get you down the weeds thinking and it slows you down. Those are the things you can just turn to Cindy and I. We'll answer and help you, guide you real quick, and you'll be well on your merry way. and you'll move at speed, right? So it takes care of all that for you. If you guys have questions, we are going to send out this replay. There's a replay page with the 3 days that are on there. My Voxer link is on there as well. Any actions for each day if you guys want to tap into doing a little bit of that. Any questions at all, please reach out through Voxer and let me know. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I don't know when we're doing another one of these, hopefully soon. But if you're joining us in Sales Academy, we are live together in a group for 5 hours tomorrow, making money, closing sales, tapping into your current audience. It's going to be super fun. Definitely tune in to Voxer with me if you want to get in for that. If you guys have questions, let me know. I'll see you all later. Bye, everybody. Thank you.